Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Hi everybody, Dr. Kathy here again today, talking about a very difficult topic. Okay, this is not an easy one. This is not going to be like the other ones I've talked about. This I'm going to go into a little bit more detail and go a little bit slower, okay, because this is pretty serious stuff. Are you faking your orgasm? Okay, some studies show 65% of women fake their orgasm. Some others show 30%, and some show up to 75% fake their orgasm, meaning they've had at least one time they faked an orgasm. And I am so careful in how I'm going to talk about this topic because it is such a delicate area, forgive the pun, where we could really hurt people. And I don't want to hurt anyone in terms of feelings or feeling that it's not, what I'm saying is not accurate. But I'm telling you, most women fake their orgasm or have faked it at least once. Why? That's the question. So, before I say why, I'm going to say that men also fake orgasms. Do you know this? I hope you do. Men also fake orgasms. 25% have admitted to faking an orgasm at least once. Again, if you want the studies, let me know. I'll send them to you. I'm going to go slow because this is a very dear topic to my heart. And of course, as a woman, I've had my own experiences with this. And not to tell you my business, but it's something that we have to own up to, and we have to realize the damage it does when we do this. We've got to stop, both men and women, faking orgasms because we cannot get to know the real way to satisfy one if one fakes an orgasm, okay? So that's the first thing I want to say. What's the meaning of faking an orgasm? It's feigning or pretending to have an orgasm with your partner. Okay. They have 3 classifications in this study that I read. The first classification says there is an internal reason, an external reason, and a contextual reason for faking orgasms. The internal reason is your disposition, how you're feeling about yourself. Okay? In the study I read again, they said that some people just have no feelings or negative feelings about sex. They have a decreased chance of having an orgasm. They have just anti-feminist beliefs and fight sexism, and they don't want to be aroused, or they sometimes want to be aroused, and so they fake orgasms because when they want to be aroused, they're not getting aroused, and they know they're not going to get the orgasm, so they fake it. All right? So that's something internal. Again, we have negative feelings. We know there's very, very little chance of us getting an orgasm. Some of the women that are anti-feminists and sexist, sexism, right? Fight sexism, they really don't want to displease the man, so they want to fake the orgasm in the bedroom. Now again, these are a few studies that I read. Closeness, some people feel that they're getting close when they fake the orgasm with a partner, right? And I'm saying men, a woman faking it for a man, right? Take note, lesbians, right, and bisexuals have 80%, say 86% orgasms, right? 86% of them have orgasms, so much higher in the homosexual or in the lesbian and the bisexual community, okay? There are some other reasons: fatigue, exhaustion, boredom, intoxication, and wanting to end it, just done, want to stop and just you end it. So those are the internal things that we go through, and sometimes, I'm sure there's more, I'm just naming a few, and sometimes we just say, you know what, I'm done, I'm just going to fake it. And this study goes into more depth, saying that it's deeper than that, meaning it depends on who you're with for some people, right? But before I go into that, I want to talk about the external causes, or situational, right? Again, something could be going on in your life, something could be going on in your environment, something could be going on with your work, and it's just taking your mind away, and you're just not really in the mood, you're thinking about it while you're having sex, and you just say, you know what, I'm going to fake it. The third one is the contextual reason, and that's relationship issues. I've got a few here. They want us to classify it into 3 relationships. The hookup relationship, okay? They want you to know that there's the hookup or one night stand that continues into more than one day or more than one time. So they continue doing hookups, they continue doing one night stands, and they're not really in a relationship, right? Some people will say friends with benefits, but they're really not in a serious relationship. So the third class is the long-term romantic relationship, okay? And so there are different situations where people will sometimes fake their orgasms, and it's more common, of course, in the hookups and the one time after the hookup, or more times after the hookup. They fake their orgasms more often, rather than in the long-term relationship, where you have more chances of the partner trying to get to know who you are and knowing that they want to keep you in the relationship, so they're going to try and satisfy you and trying to get you to have that orgasm, but sometimes you still fake it in that long-term relationship. But it's less in the long-term relationship. There's still reasons for it in the long-term relationship. Sometimes the woman worries about the partner, and the most common reason for having, of course, a problem with faking is not having that orgasm. Now, some people have orgasms while masturbating, right? And some people can't. So they say that when you masturbate on your own, you can actually have an orgasm, but when you're in a relationship with someone, you're having a hard time. For so many different reasons, you're having a hard time for having an orgasm. I always say, come to a doctor like me, someone like me that does sexual wellness, and will get to the bottom of why you are not having that orgasm. So just take note of that. But you're worried that you don't want to embarrass yourself. You're with your relationship. That's the long-term relationship. And if you do that, it's because you want to keep the long-term relationship and you don't want him to know. You already know you have difficulty having an orgasm when you're masturbating. You actually know that also. But people that masturbate successfully on their own and go into relationships can still feign and still fake their orgasms, because they're not getting what they actually want in the bedroom. And I'm going to say this from the get-go. It is better for your partner to satisfy you first. I'm saying the male, satisfy the female first. Again, in heterosexual relationships, before the male is satisfied, if you know you're going to have problems, or if you do have problems reaching an orgasm. It's better for the guy to focus on you first, because the guy is not going to have a problem unless he has his own issues, which I know we said 25% do fake it, but more women fake it, right? And so we want to now demand our rights, yes, woohoo, rights that we need to get the orgasm first if we're not able to get that orgasm. Now, how do we get that going? I have to make some sort of movement or form some sort of group so we can get it out there that people should focus on the women. And some men do. Some men say, no, this is all about you right now. And I think men like that already know or have had experience with women that have difficulty reaching orgasm. So for me, it is more of teaching men, number one, they should focus on the woman and what the woman needs. And number two, what does the woman truly need? She's not telling y'all, guys. She's not being honest with you, okay? And the reason is because she could be shy, it could be upbringing, it could be just getting to know you. She doesn't know you that well. So it is important to, if you're interested in your partner, to dig into it, find out what she likes, because she might like something that's left field and you're going to be, whoa, I didn't know. Okay, so that's the first thing. Second thing is, some people do not, actually most women do not orgasm with just penetrating sex or penetrative sex. They have to have the clitoris stimulated. So please understand my big picture. I had the model of the picture of the clitoris. You need to know that needs to be stimulated before women do reach their orgasm. And I know it's not easy, guys. I know, I feel for you guys. It's not easy for some women. And then it's easy for the women that have the ESR, the extended stimulation release, right? Sorry, the extended sexual response. They are the ones that can get that orgasm like that. But we're talking about women that cannot. So, that long-term relationship I'm focusing on, because the one-night stand, I understand why they can't have that orgasm. It's a one-night stand, and women like to get to know people. Generally, not all women, before they have that orgasm. But there is a relationship between the orgasm problem, not being able to have that orgasm, that disorder, relationships, and actually faking it. There is a common theme there that there's some initial problem with orgasms because they're not in that ideal relationship, so they're faking it. So there's some more studies that need to be done to connect all three. But individually, if you're having orgasms that are difficult and you're in a relationship and you're faking it, there's some connection, okay? The question, of course, is what is the importance of sex to the woman? Is sex very important to the woman? Sometimes sex is not important to the woman, so she's really not into it, and reaching her orgasm is difficult for her because she knows she's not really into it. They cannot orgasm when they're masturbating, right? So they have a hard problem, and when they do, studies have not been taking that into consideration, whether they have a hard problem masturbating at home or not. So the studies I had didn't really have a lot of information on that, except that there is some correlation between faking an orgasm and not being able to masturbate. So take note of that. Women, we need to masturbate, right, to teach ourselves how to have our own orgasm. If you're not having an orgasm, again, it could be hormonal, it could be something physical, it could be something medical. See a doctor like me that does focus on finding out what the cause is. There's also some question of frequency of sex. So people that don't have a lot of sex are not going to have the practice, not going to have the experience of being able to have an orgasm. And you've got to create these pathways for orgasms, right? So when you're not having a lot of sex, you're not getting a lot of practice, your partner is not getting a lot of practice, and you don't really know that you can improve with time. So the more frequency in terms of sexual relationship, you're going to have the better increased chance of having that orgasm. All right, level of education is another question. They say that there's not much of a difference, doesn't matter the level of education, it's very minimal. So it's really not a matter of education, it's really a matter of the person and their like for their liking sex or not liking sex, the liking of the partner, whether the partner cares, whether the partner just is, I won't say selfish, but not aware of what the woman needs. And I'm going to sort of focus on that because we talked about the erogenous zones in a woman and we talked about it in a man. I think if we can get the erogenous zones in a woman, find the different erogenous zones, okay? Go back to my talk on erogenous zones. If we can get those areas and define them and know which one works, right? I think, again, the chances of having an orgasm will go through the roof. But she's got to be willing, and I'm talking about the woman being willing to discuss that with you, even open up that she's not having these orgasms, because it's hard for women to even admit that they're not. But the only way you're going to know that a woman is faking it is, I'm talking to the men now, is by her physiological response. And I do test men sometimes. I say, okay guys, how do you know that she's faking it or not? How do you know she's having an orgasm or not? Okay, and I know there are different ways of having orgasms. Some are quieter than others. but there are certain responses that you're going to see. The first one, and I'm going to let you into a secret. I know women are going to be upset, Dr. Kathy. Don't tell them. Don't tell them. But the answer, and most men, a lot of men, not most, a lot of men do know. The secret is the vaginal muscles uncontrollably contracting, involuntary, just going crazy, all right? That's one. It is not the secretions. The secretions are the pre-orgasm. So they're getting ready. But it's the uncontrollable voluntary muscle muscle contractions that really clue you in as to whether she's having an orgasm or not. And women always that don't have orgasms say, oh, I wish I knew what it's like. I believe that a lot of women do masturbate and do reach their orgasm, so they do know what it's like. Women that haven't really allowed themselves to go there. So you've got to create those pathways, go there. Focus on it, put your mind on it, and focus on getting there so that you will know what it's like. And again, great for health, right? Great for circulation. So many benefits. We went through that before. I've talked about this before, and I'm going to talk about it again. But the most important thing is your partner being willing to ask you what turns you on. But you've got to know what turns you on. You've got to know what you like and not be embarrassed to tell your partner what you like. I know it's not easy to sit down in front of guys and say, this is what I like, especially if you feel you're going to be judged. If you feel you're going to be judged, you're going to say, you know what, I am not going to tell anybody because it's a secret. What I do by myself, whether using porn or whether imagining things, it is really okay as long as you're getting your orgasm. But when you're coming with a partner and you don't want to tell your partner, don't fake it. Just let your partner know why you're not having an orgasm, because you know why you're not having an orgasm. Be honest, especially if you want a long-term relationship. Okay, very difficult topic. There might be a part B to this because there is so much information to talk about, and I really want to go more into the fact that that conversation that you have to have with men, that there are things that are within you that you don't tell a soul, that you know if he does, will make you have that orgasm, but you're so embarrassed. So I want to touch on that probably in my next topic. How can we tell your partner, how can we discuss with your partner things that are going on in your mind that you know will work and will stop you faking the orgasm, so that you both will be able to reach that orgasm together? I think we'll talk about that on our next topic, because it's a really delicate topic, and I do want men to know that I know it's not easy for you too. Women, what you see on these porn sites, and women that are doing it fast, no, they need some stimulation in those erogenous zones. And if you're thinking that you're doing it with penetration and they're getting orgasms, they might be lying to you, they might be faking it. So ask your partner right now. Ask your partner. Ask them whether they're truly having that orgasm. But you should know, because of the physiological response of involuntary contractions that will just grab you, and you know that it's a genuine contraction and a genuine orgasm. There is one more tip I'll give you, and that is that once she's had her orgasm, again, most women, not all, you can't really touch that area afterwards because it's sensitive, highly sensitive, okay? I'm not saying all women. You're going to know, because she's got to have that time to slow down, to come down, and to allow her to get back, right, to her old self. So there's that lull, that time where you know that you can't touch her, and you just can't move, and you can't do anything, just for her to allow the resolution of the orgasm, okay? Now, this is a general rule, so it's not the secretions. She can pour like a tap. That's not it. She can do female ejaculation all day long. That's not it. It really is the involuntary muscle contractions and that post-orgasm resolution, which is where she's sort of like in the throes of coming down off her orgasm. Okay, now I'm hoping I didn't upset anybody, but the take-home lesson here is, guys, number one, have her be satisfied first. Have her have an orgasm first, please. And the second thing is be honest, have a conversation with her to find out what is she really thinking about, what does she really want, and be open to what she wants, please. Now, I know some things might be a little bit off the chain, but if you can, just try your best and try what she would like to do without having her not tell you and hide it from you. Okay, guys? All right, enough for today. I will see you on our next talk. I hope I didn't hurt anybody or cause any pain for anybody, but please find out whether your partner is faking it, men and women. And we'll talk later, okay? Take care. Ciao. Bye. Oops, let's see. There we go.